My friends, life does not ask us whether we are ready. It throws challenges, setbacks, and even failures right into our path. 2026 is not waiting for anyone. It will reward those who are prepared, those who dare to rebuild themselves, and those who rise again, no matter how many times they've fallen. If you failed in 2024, if 2025 was filled with doubts, let me tell you, so what? Every champion you admire was once broken, lost, or underestimated. Makes them great is not that they never fell, it's that they refused to stay down. Rebuilding yourself for 2026 means rewriting your story. It means asking yourself, is my vision? What do I want to achieve in health, in business, in family, in wealth, in my spirit? Write it down. Dream it so vividly that it keeps you awake at night. The person with vision will always outlast the person with excuses. But vision alone is not enough. You must change from the inside out. Don't wait for the economy, the government, or your boss to give you success. Build your discipline, build your courage, build your skills. When storms come, and they will, you will not be shaken because your foundation is strong. And remember this, the world is moving faster than ever. Technology is rewriting rules. Opportunities are shifting overnight. Who cling to yesterday's methods will be irrelevant tomorrow. Those who learn, adapt, and innovate will own the future. Be a student of change. Surround yourself with those who lift you up, not drag you down. If your circle is weak, your mindset will be weak. But if your circle is filled with dreamers, doers, and builders, then you will find strength even in your weakest moments. Finally, don't underestimate small daily steps. Reading 1 page, saving $1, learning 1 skill, 1 mile. Do it every day, and by the time you enter 2026, you won't even recognize yourself. So I ask you today, are you ready to rebuild? Are you ready to rise? 2026 is not just another year, it is your year. But only if you decide today to become the new you. The future belongs to those who rebuild themselves stronger than before. And that future, my friends, belongs to you. When we talk about rebuilding ourselves for success in 2026, the very first step is perhaps the most difficult, yet most liberating. Accepting the past without dwelling on it. Many people confuse acceptance with resignation. They believe that accepting their past failures means agreeing to live with them forever. That is not true. Acceptance is the courage to look your past in the eye and say, yes, this happened. Yes, I made mistakes. Yes, I fell short. It does not define the whole of me, and it will not dictate the rest of my journey. Dwelling, on the other hand, when you replay those failures again and again until they become a prison that locks away your energy, confidence, and ambition. Think of the past like a university course you have already taken. You have paid the fees in the form of time, effort, and sometimes even pain. What matters now are the lessons you carried forward. No one repeats a class forever. Once they've learned the material, they move on to apply the knowledge in the next challenge. In life, setbacks are simply tuition fees for wisdom. If you lost money in a business venture, you have already paid for the education of learning what not to do. If a relationship collapsed, you have already invested the emotional cost to understand your own weaknesses, expectations, and the reality of human connection. If you fail to reach your goals in 2025, that failure is not a mark against you. It is a foundation stone for the discipline you can build in 2026. The danger lies in attaching your identity to the past. People often say, I am a failure because I failed. That is the biggest lie you can ever tell yourself. You are not the failure. You are simply the person who experienced a failure. The distinction is everything. Events are temporary, character is permanent. By learning to separate the two, you free yourself to move forward without carrying unnecessary weight. Imagine a runner preparing for a marathon. They carry a heavy backpack filled with stones. They will collapse long before the finish line. Dwelling on the past is exactly like carrying that backpack. Every regret, every what if, every shameful memory becomes another stone. The runner cannot control the fact that they stumbled in training yesterday. They can control whether they let that stumble weigh them down tomorrow. The smart runner empties the backpack, learns the lesson about balance or endurance, and enters the race lighter, sharper, and more determined. Success in 2026 will not be reserved for those who had a perfect past. It belongs to those who know how to process their history without becoming trapped in it. The key is to transform regret into reflection. Regret says, I should have done better. Reflection says, now I know how to do better. Regret poisons you. Reflection fuels you. If you can practice turning every painful memory into a useful lesson, you will have turned your past into one of your greatest assets. Powerful way to practice this is through honest journaling or personal reflection sessions. Write down the biggest mistakes or losses of the last 2 years, but don't stop there. Each one, ask yourself, what did I learn and how will I use this in 2026? You may discover that the very things you once tried to forget are actually the seeds of your future wisdom. Another approach is to reframe the narrative you tell yourself. Instead of saying, I wasted 2 years, you can say, I invested 2 years into learning lessons that most people will only learn a decade from now. The facts haven't changed. Only your perspective has. And perspective is often the difference between people who give up and those who rise again stronger. The art of acceptance also requires forgiveness, both for others and yourself. Sometimes we get stuck not because of what happened, but because we cannot forgive ourselves for letting it happen. Self-blame becomes the invisible chain holding us down. Forgiveness is cutting that chain. It is not pretending the pain never existed, but choosing to stop letting it control you. When you forgive yourself, you reclaim the power to rebuild with fresh energy. So as you prepare for 2026, remember that the past cannot be undone, but it can be redefined, can serve you instead of suffocating you. Every scar, every mistake, every wrong turn can become part of the map that guides you forward. Accept the past as a completed chapter and refuse to reread it endlessly. The book of your life still has many blank pages, and 2026 is waiting for you to write new ones with courage, clarity, and confidence. Redefining your vision for 2026 is one of the most important steps in rebuilding yourself, because without a clear destination, all effort becomes scattered. Many people work hard. They do not work towards something specific. They wake up, hustle, struggle, and by the end of the year, they wonder why nothing meaningful changed. The truth is, energy without direction is wasted. Success does not simply arrive by accident. It is attracted to those who know where they are going. If 2025 was a year of confusion, uncertainty, unfinished goals, then 2026 must begin with clarity. That clarity comes from crafting a vision that is vivid, measurable, inspiring enough to pull you forward even on days when motivation runs low. A vision is more than just setting goals. It is about defining who you want to become and the kind of life you want to live. Goals are milestones along the way, but vision is the larger picture that keeps everything aligned. If your vision is weak or vague, you will easily get distracted by temporary struggles or short-term temptations. For example, someone says their vision is simply to be successful. That is too broad. Success could mean money, recognition, health, influence. It could even mean something entirely different in another person's eyes. But if your vision is, by 2026, I want to have built a sustainable business that provides financial freedom for my family and creates opportunities for others, then that is clear, measurable, and deeply motivating. Redefining vision also requires you to let go of the old one if it no longer serves you. Perhaps your dreams from a few years ago no longer align with who you are today. Maybe you once chased money but now realize fulfillment comes from impact. Maybe you once wanted recognition but now see peace of mind as your priority. Life changes us, and vision must evolve with that change. There is nothing wrong with admitting that the old direction was not the right one. In fact, it is courageous. It means you are not stubbornly clinging to a dream that no longer fits your reality. To rebuild yourself, must choose a vision that feels authentic to your present self and your future potential, not a version of you that no longer exists. A strong vision has 3 parts. It is specific, it is inspiring, and it is realistic enough to believe in. Specificity means you can measure it. Saying, I want to be healthier in 2026 is vague. Saying, I want to reduce my weight by 15 pounds, run 3 kilometers without stopping, and maintain a balanced diet consistently is specific. Inspiration means it excites you and makes you feel alive. If your vision doesn't spark energy, you will not have the passion to pursue it when challenges come. Realism doesn't mean you aim small, it means you aim high, but in a way that feels achievable with the right discipline and strategy. If you set a vision that feels impossible, you may quit before you even begin. One effective way to build this vision is through visualization. Take time to imagine your life in December 2026. Where are you living? Kind of work are you doing? Who is around you? How do you feel when you wake up in the morning? Paint the picture in as much detail as possible, because the mind works best when it has a clear target. Athletes, entrepreneurs, and leaders across the world use this technique, not because it is magic, because it gives the brain direction. Once you see the vision clearly, your actions begin to align with it almost naturally. Redefining your vision also requires commitment. It is not enough to write it once and forget it. You must revisit it regularly, refine it if necessary, and remind yourself why it matters. The clearer and stronger your vision becomes, the more it will act as your compass when distractions or doubts appear. Every decision can be tested against it. This move me closer to my vision for 2026, or does it pull me away? When you begin to live this way, discipline stops feeling like sacrifice and begins to feel like alignment. In the end, redefining your vision for 2026 is not about predicting the future. It is about choosing the future you want to create. Without this act of deliberate choice, you risk drifting into another year of routine and regret. But with it, you give yourself the power to rebuild, refocus, and rise toward the life you truly desire. Rebuilding from the inside out is the heart of lasting transformation, because true success never begins with money, titles, or recognition. It begins with discipline, mindset, and resilience. Many people chase external results without realizing that their internal state is the foundation upon which everything else rests. Strong building cannot stand on weak ground, and a life cannot flourish if the inner self is fragile. If 2025 left you exhausted, uncertain, or broken, then 2026 must be the year where you stop patching the surface and start strengthening the core. The first layer of rebuilding inside out is mindset. The way you think shapes the way you act, and the way you act shapes the results you receive. A mind filled with doubt, negativity, fear will sabotage opportunities even when they appear. Conversely, a mind that is trained to see possibilities, to learn from setbacks, to expect growth will naturally gravitate towards success. Developing this kind of mindset requires deliberate effort, reading uplifting material, surrounding yourself with positive voices, and questioning the limiting beliefs that hold you back. If you constantly tell yourself, I can't, your brain will stop looking for solutions. But if you train yourself to say, how can I? You will begin to discover answers that were always hidden in plain sight. The second layer is discipline. Motivation may get you started. Discipline keeps you consistent. Anyone can feel excited in January, but only those who build daily habits will carry that energy into December. Discipline is not about punishing yourself. It is about structuring your life so that good decisions become automatic. Waking up at a certain hour, setting aside time for learning, exercising, or saving money. These small acts practiced daily rebuild your character and strengthen your confidence. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you teach your mind that you can be trusted, and that trust is the foundation of self-belief. Without discipline, success becomes a matter of luck. With it, success becomes inevitable. Third layer is resilience. Life will not give you a straight path in 2026. There will be disappointments, rejections, and unexpected challenges. Determines whether you reach your vision is not how smooth the road is, but how strong your spirit remains when the road gets rough. Resilience means bouncing back quickly, refusing to stay down, and seeing each obstacle as a test of your determination. Building resilience requires both perspective and practice. Perspective comes when you remind yourself that every difficulty is temporary and that storms eventually pass. Practice comes when you deliberately expose yourself to challenges, whether by pushing your limits physically, mentally, or emotionally, so that you grow stronger each time you face adversity. When you focus on rebuilding from the inside out, you stop relying on circumstances to decide your future. You no longer say, "I will succeed if the economy improves," or "I will be happy if people treat me well." Instead, you begin to say, "I will succeed because I am disciplined, because I am prepared, because I am strong enough to adapt no matter what comes." This shift in responsibility from the external world to your internal strength is the turning point that separates those who wait for success from those who create it. Powerful truth about rebuilding from within is that it multiplies into every area of life. A disciplined person at work becomes more reliable at home. A resilient person in business becomes more patient in relationships. A strong mindset in personal growth leads to courage in financial or social decisions. The inner foundation does not stay hidden, it radiates outward, influencing every opportunity, every interaction, and every result. In the journey to 2026, your greatest project is not your career, your wealth, or even your reputation. It is you. By rebuilding from the inside out, you ensure that no matter what storms appear, you are unshakable because your strength is not borrowed from circumstances, but built from within. Adapting to the new world is no longer an option, it is a necessity. The pace of change today is faster than anything humanity has seen before, and the coming years will only accelerate this trend. What worked 5 years ago may already be obsolete. Works today may not survive tomorrow. To rebuild yourself for success in 2026, you must learn, unlearn, and relearn continuously. This is not just about acquiring technical knowledge, but about cultivating the flexibility to shift your strategies, attitudes, and actions as the environment evolves. Technology is one of the most visible forces driving this change. Artificial intelligence, automation, and digital transformation are not just buzzwords, they are rewriting industries and redefining skills. The person who ignores these shifts will struggle to remain relevant, but the person who embraces them, who studies new tools, experiments with new platforms, and adapts their work style to leverage these advancements, will find opportunities where others see threats. For example, in business, AI can eliminate repetitive tasks, but it also demands creativity, emotional intelligence, and problem solving from humans. Those who resist change will complain about lost jobs. Those who adapt will use the same technology to build new careers, businesses, and solutions. Adaptation is not limited to technology alone. The global environment is shifting politically, economically, and socially. Markets are more interconnected than ever, meaning that a crisis in one part of the world can ripple across continents. Consumer behaviors are constantly evolving, influenced by trends, culture, and global events. To thrive in this environment, you must not cling blindly to old methods. Instead, you must develop a habit of scanning the horizon, staying informed, being ready to pivot your strategies. A business leader who only looks at what worked in 2020 will miss the signals of what customers demand in 2026. A professional who refuses to reskill will be left behind while others seize new opportunities. Learning how to adapt requires humility. Many people fail because they become too proud of their past achievements and refuse to accept that the world has changed. They say, "I've been doing this for years, it will always work." But success from yesterday can become the very chain that holds you back tomorrow. The ability to let go of old formulas is as important as the ability to adopt new ones. Adaptation is not about discarding everything you know, but about recognizing when it no longer serves you and being courageous enough to evolve. Flexibility also applies to personal habits and mindset. In a world of constant change, stress and uncertainty are unavoidable. If you resist every change, you will exhaust yourself emotionally. But if you cultivate a mindset that views change as an opportunity instead of a threat, You will not only survive, but thrive. People who embrace adaptation understand that discomfort is a sign of growth. They use every new challenge as a training ground for resilience and creativity. Powerful aspect of adaptation is that it keeps you future focused. Instead of being nostalgic for the past or fearful of the unknown, you become curious about what is next. Curiosity opens the door to innovation while fear shuts it. By choosing curiosity, you place yourself at the front of the wave instead of being crushed by it. In 2026, the ones who succeed will not be those who know everything, but those who are willing to learn anything. Adaptation is also deeply connected to speed. Opportunities in the new world often come quickly and disappear just as fast. The person who hesitates, who spends months deciding whether to act, watch doors close before they even take the first step. The person who adapts rapidly, who experiments, tests, and learns on the go, capture those opportunities and turn them into stepping stones for growth. As the world changes, the choice is simply resist and remain stuck, or adapt and move ahead. Who rebuild themselves for 2026 understand that adaptation is not a one-time event, but a lifestyle. It is the continuous practice of staying open, curious, and flexible so that no matter how unpredictable the world becomes, they are always ready to move with it, instead of against it. Surrounding yourself with growth-minded people is one of the most powerful choices you can make when rebuilding for success, because the environment you live in directly influences the person you become. Human beings are social by nature. We absorb attitudes, beliefs, and even habits from those around us more than we realize. If you spend time with people who constantly complain, see obstacles instead of opportunities, and discourage ambition, then slowly, without noticing, their mindset will become your mindset. On the other hand, if you are in the company of individuals who dream big, take action, support one another's growth, you will naturally rise to match their energy. Success is rarely a solo achievement. It is almost always a reflection of the community that shapes you. The reason this principle is so powerful lies in psychology. People mirror the behaviors and expectations of those closest to them. If you are in a circle where mediocrity is normal, striving for more will feel unnecessary or even arrogant. If you join a group where excellence, learning, and perseverance are the standards, you will feel challenged to grow. Just like a plant grows taller when surrounded by sunlight, a person grows stronger when surrounded by encouragement, accountability, and ambition. This does not mean abandoning people who care for you, but recognizing that if you want to elevate your life in 2026, you must consciously design your environment to pull you upward instead of holding you back. Surrounding yourself with growth-minded people also gives you access to perspectives you cannot develop alone. When you are stuck in your own head, your solutions are limited by your experience. But when you engage with people who have walked different paths, faced different challenges, and overcome different struggles, you gain insights that expand your thinking. A single conversation with the right person can save you years of trial and error. This is why mentors, networks, and peer groups are so valuable. They accelerate your progress by giving you lessons that cost others their time, effort, and even failure. Another key aspect is accountability. Minded people will not allow you to stay stuck in excuses. They will challenge you to take responsibility, remind you of your goals, and push you forward when your motivation fades. Unlike negative influences that encourage laziness or self-pity, positive influences demand consistency. At times this pressure may feel uncomfortable, but it is exactly that discomfort which leads to transformation. You become sharper, more disciplined, more determined because the people around you refuse to let you settle for less. It is also important to remember that relationships are not just about taking, they are about contributing. To truly benefit from surrounding yourself with growth-minded people, you must also bring value to the table. Offer encouragement, share your knowledge, support others in their journey. This creates mutual trust and respect, forming a community where everyone rises together. A circle built on growth is not a competition of egos, but a collaboration of dreams. When one person wins, the whole group is inspired to believe they can win too. Sometimes, choosing growth-minded people means making difficult decisions about your current environment. It may require distancing yourself from individuals who constantly drain your energy, never believe in possibility, or who subtly discourage your ambitions. This does not mean cutting ties with compassion, but it does mean protecting your mental and emotional space. You want to build a stronger version of yourself for 2026. You cannot afford to let negativity dominate your daily interactions. The cost is too high because every conversation, every friendship, and every shared moment either moves you closer to your vision or pulls you further away from it. By surrounding yourself with growth-minded people, you are building a support system that fuels resilience, inspires creativity, and sustains motivation. You no longer walk the journey of rebuilding alone. You walk with a community that pushes you to become your best self. As you move into 2026, remember that your environment is not just a background detail. It is the architect of your destiny. Choose carefully, because who you walk with will determine how far you go. Taking small, relentless steps daily is the hidden key to long-term success, because greatness is not the result of one giant leap, but the accumulation of consistent actions repeated over time. Many people overestimate what they can achieve in a single month and underestimate what they can achieve in a single year. They set huge goals, become overwhelmed by their size, and eventually give up when progress feels too slow. But the truth is that every remarkable achievement you admire was built one small step at a time. The difference between those who succeed and those who remain stuck is not talent, luck, or even timing. It is the discipline of steady, incremental effort. You commit to small steps, you remove the burden of perfection. Instead of waiting for the perfect time, perfect opportunity, or perfect plan, you simply focus on what can be done today. Writing a single page every day eventually produces a book. Saving a small amount of money regularly eventually creates financial security. Exercising for 20 minutes daily eventually transforms health. These actions may feel insignificant in the moment, but when compounded over months and years, they become unstoppable. The key is consistency. Success rewards persistence, not occasional bursts of effort. The power of daily steps lies in compounding. Just as money grows with compound interest, habits grow with compound action. Each day you practice a skill, you not only improve that day, but also create a foundation for the next. Time, the progress multiplies far beyond what seems possible at the beginning. This is why people often marvel at someone's sudden success without realizing it was built quietly over countless invisible days of effort. Looks like an overnight breakthrough is actually the final spark of a long and patient process. Another strength of small daily steps is that they build resilience. Large, dramatic efforts often collapse when obstacles appear, but small, steady actions can withstand difficulties. If you train yourself to do something every single day, no matter how little, you create a rhythm that becomes hard to break. Even when motivation is low or circumstances are tough, you still move forward because the habit has become ingrained. This resilience ensures that setbacks do not completely derail you, because the discipline of daily action makes recovery easier. Taking daily steps also sharpens focus. When you divide your big vision into small, actionable pieces, you reduce the feeling of overwhelm. Instead of worrying about how to achieve everything by 2026, you ask yourself, can I do today to move 1 inch closer? This mindset keeps your energy directed and prevents paralysis by analysis. The smaller the step, the easier it is to begin. You begin, momentum carries you further. Momentum itself is a powerful force. Progress fuels motivation, and motivation fuels more progress. Steps also reinforce identity. Every time you take consistent action, you send a signal to yourself about who you are becoming. If you run every day, no matter how short the distance, you begin to see yourself as a runner. If you write every day, you start to believe you are a writer. Identity shapes behavior, and behavior shapes results. By committing to small actions, you are not just moving toward a goal, you are building a new version of yourself that naturally aligns with success. The challenge with small daily steps is patience. In the early stages, progress is invisible. The body does not transform in a week, financial freedom does not appear in a month, and mastery of a skill does not arrive overnight. This is where most people quit. They do not see immediate results and assume their effort is wasted. But those who endure, trust the process, and stay consistent eventually reach a tipping point where results explode. The breakthrough comes not in spite of the small steps, but because of them. By 2026, the person who embraced small, relentless steps will look back in amazement at how far they have come, while those who waited for the perfect moment will still be waiting. The path to success is not hidden in big, dramatic gestures, but in the quiet discipline of showing up every single day, doing the work, and letting the compounding effect of persistence create the transformation that once felt impossible. My friends, as we stand on the edge of 2026, the question is not whether success is possible. It is whether we are willing to rebuild ourselves to claim it. We have learned that we cannot change the past. We can accept it and use it as fuel. We must redefine our vision so clearly that it becomes the compass guiding every step. We must rebuild from the inside out, strengthening our mindset, discipline, and resilience so that no storm can shake us. We must adapt fearlessly to a world that is changing faster than ever, because those who embrace change will shape the future. We must choose our circle wisely, surrounding ourselves with people who inspire growth rather than limit it. And above all, take relentless daily steps, because small actions repeated consistently are what turn dreams into reality. Future is not promised to those who wait. It belongs to those who prepare, those who rise, and those who rebuild themselves stronger than before. 2026 will not reward hesitation. Reward clarity, courage, and consistency. So stand tall, decide who you will become, and take the first step today. The best version of you is waiting to be built, and the time to build it is now.